Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am going to be doing a celebrity psychic reading on Avicii. I think he passed away a couple years ago. He was just very fascinating to me. I mean, I used to like his music when I was a little younger. And his passing was kind of weird. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I think they ruled it out as like an accident, or I'm not exactly sure how it came about. So let's go into it. How do you spell his name? And guys, I always use this crystal when I do readings. This is selenite. I just find it really opens your third eye up, and it's supposed to be good for protection, so I always like use it. Okay. Ugh. You know how I feel about doing mediumship readings, guys. But hopefully we find something, Okay, so he still is very much on a celestial level, meaning that he sees that I'm trying to read him. It's telepathic communication, as some people would say. So I'm gonna start off with this reading by saying he was a starseed. He was kind of a Martian archetype. I don't know, like that's the word that I'm hearing, Martian. I feel like when I think of that word, I see that TV show that was back on in the 90s. I forgot what it was called. But, that's what I'm hearing when I'm tuning into his energy. So I do see that he had a soul contract to come to this world to bring something to the public. But what I find quite often with celebrities like that who've had missions like that, like kind of along the same lines as Lil Peep, I'm getting like, flashbacks here. I am seeing that he did need to bring this world, something, and it was something through his expression of music or whatever else. I'm not exactly sure what other endeavors he's had, but he definitely changed the consciousness through something he did on this planet. And this doesn't always have to be through fame or stardom. It could just be like one small thing that had a ripple effect in a very positive way. So I am seeing that he is an advanced soul from another star system. I'm seeing Martian. So Martian would mean he's from like Mars. And, when we think about, all these other planets and stuff like that, it's not that we don't have other life forms there. It's just that these life forms live on a different, atmosphere, a different celestial level. They're not on 3D, so we can't exactly access them, but they are there in 4D, on 5D, in 2D even sometimes. So, yeah, if that makes any sense, because I know that like we haven't found life in Mars yet. But I am saying that it is very possible that I would say it's better of a chance that there's either a very high vibration on Mars that we can't even access yet, due to all the intelligence. So he reincarnated here to bring for a very good reason, to bring positive. To raise the consciousness in a positive way. I'm not seeing anything negative on him. I know that there was speculations on him having depression. Yeah, his energy is crazy. So as of now, I do see that he is on an astral plane. He's kind of in limbo. I'm not sure if, not because of anything bad. I feel like he really did fulfill what he was supposed to do here. But he is in limbo. I feel the words he had to get taken out, and he knew it was time. I feel like he kind of knew that he was going to get taken out at this point. It was a soul contract type of thing where he had to fulfill this one thing, and he had to, you know, leave young. So deep in his higher self knew that he had to, you know, be taken out at this point. And I don't see any like, you know, like it was too soon, it was too late. I feel like this was the time. It's not that he's not crossed over, because I feel like he does have access to crossover, but I'm seeing that he's waiting to see his next move, like what his soul evolvement will do next. So he's kind of in an astral plane, not always a negative thing, but he's there. I'm seeing he is on that level. Sorry, I like ate something wrong yesterday, and I'm like scratching. So with him, he's a very advanced soul, and like I said before, when we have these very advanced souls that are raising the consciousness, it's not something that could happen all at once. That's why we see so many legends pass on early. They have one thing to accomplish here, and you know, people always say that God takes his angels first, and there is some truth to that. If there is a soul that has evolved so much faster than the global consciousness, it's just not within the laws of 3D reality. It's not feasible to keep them here, especially when they have so much power, like Avicii. And not only is it like an energetic thing, they're the leaders of the world. You guys know I don't like to get into that. They do take these people out, and they make it seem like it's a suicide or something like that. I'm not really seeing, I'm sure it could have happened, but this is something he knew he had to be taken out at this point. It wasn't a suicide. There was no negativity. I see that he had a lot of feelings of homesick. I'm not exactly seeing depression, because he was on such a high vibration. I don't feel like... Okay, I'm seeing drugs now, actually. Hold on. So I'm seeing there was a lot of drugs involved that he would use to numb him out from his own head. He did, yeah. He really hated being here, as we see with most starseeds. But he was on such a high vibration. The suicide wouldn't have he wouldn't have done it, you know, intentionally. He was, you know, as many of us who come from advanced civilizations feel, we don't really connect to people here. You know, consciousness is on such a different level, and you know, we don't really come here for leisure. A lot of us have very hard lives, you know. So I see that he did have a lot of suffering. I don't really follow up on these types of celebrities. I'm not sure what the suffering was about. I'm seeing that he really tried to fit in, and he tried to use drugs to be relevant and to be cool. But with him using drugs, I don't really feel like it started with peer pressure. I feel like he wanted to do these drugs, and it was more about him getting himself out of his own head. But there also was pressure on him to keep up those appearances, and he was suffering inside, but I don't see it was a suicide, but I am seeing there was a lot of suffering. The drugs he was trying to numb himself out with the drugs. On a higher level, though, he was supposed to be here for this amount of time, and that was it. But him coming into 3D reality, when we have ego and stuff like that, you know, he needed the drugs to kind of cope with himself being here, because this is a very dense place, and it's a lot denser than when we get into different star systems like the Pleiades and Cairo. I don't know what the other names are. So for them to come here and live in our dense reality, it's very... you know, it's culture shock. It's a lot of things, and you can never quite feel right at home, because the way, like, you know, we look at things that are so important, like love, stuff like that. So he had a hard time adjusting to that. And it's not always big things like that. It could be little things as well. So he had a very hard time adjusting to all of this. I feel like there was a lot of pressure on him, and he was an empath as well. I'm seeing he was kind of a medium, actually. He definitely had access to other spirits. He had a lot of energy being channeled through him, through the Greys, or whatever you'd like to call them. So that kind of drove him crazy as well, all that energy. And of course, like, if you don't, even if you do know how to control it, it will drive you crazy, because our human body is not really meant to take on that much energy. And I've spoken to in other videos with Juice World, when we have to take on that much energy, it really does physically take a toll on us. I remember there was this one girl, not girl, it was this woman in Peru, and and that's where I'm from. She was a medium, and she told me that, like, every time she had to channel an evil spirit, her eyes would burn and they would get lighter. She had green eyes like mine. So every time she would channel this evil, like an evil spirit would go through her, her eyes would burn and like the melanin would burn off, and her eyes would in turn, she almost looked like she was blind because she was older, but she told me that that's how it happened. Just because the energy is so dense, physically it really does take a toll on us. And I'm seeing that for him, especially with the drugs and everything, it really just took a toll on him. And he didn't really understand how to cope with it because, yeah, it's especially 1990 to 2016. I'm seeing 16. It was just a bad time. There's really just so much misinformation on spirituality and spiritual protection and stuff like that. So I could definitely understand that. And I feel like his physical reality really wasn't so based on, you know, his origins and spirituality and stuff. It was more based on pressure and stuff like that. All right, so this was a short reading, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it and have a great day.